Hello and welcome to the 13th episode of Stay Nerdy, my friends. I know what you're asking yourself. Why is Sean talking fast? That's because I recorded this episode already and it was 18 minutes long because I rambled a lot. Anyway, I have a lot of information that I need to get into this and it has to be under like 9 minutes. So anyway, stay with me until the end. We're going to talk about 3 asteroids/meteors and first one is the Russian meteor that made contact this morning. Well, yesterday for us, this morning for them. Then we're going to talk about asteroid 2012 DA14, which made it was a close call. Then we're going to talk about Apophis, which a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's going to hit the Earth in 2029. Yeah, 2029. We're all going to die. And as usual with most of those cosmological nothing events, people are wrong. But I'll get to that in a second. The Russian meteor, when it hit the Earth, and it was traveling really fast. How fast, you ask? Approximately 18 kilometers per second. That is plenty fast enough to break the sound barrier. Why is that important, Sean? Well, because I'll tell you in a second. When it made contact with the Earth, it made contact with the Ural Mountains in Russia. And when it hit the Earth, it was the equivalent of it was hundreds of kilotons, and it was the blast equivalent to hundreds of kilotons. What that means is that if you were to set off a bomb that weighed hundreds of kilotons, it would be equivalent. Remember that this just happened today, and I don't have a top secret security clearance, so everything that I know is pretty much off of NASA's website and JPL's website and all that other stuff, so a lot of it is estimation at this point. They're not even sure if it was a meteor or an asteroid. Anyway, so when it made contact, that is a gigantic explosion, and that blows out all the windows in the towns and cities nearby. Well, usually when that happens, it's not as big of a deal. It doesn't injure thousands of people when that happens. But the problem is, because it was traveling fast enough to break the sound barrier, I told you I'd get to it. Because it was traveling fast enough to break the sound barrier, it made a loud boom outside. Now, what do you do when there's a loud noise outside? You go to the window to check it out. So, when people went to the window to check it out, shortly thereafter, BAM! It hit the ground, the shockwave went out, shattered all those windows that the people are now peering out of. Basically, it's like they slammed their head through the window. That's what it's like. And that's why over 1,000 people were injured. Terrible. There's really not a lot more that I can tell you right now. Like I said, I don't have a top secret security clearance yet. But anyway, so that's as much about the one in Russia that I can tell you. However, I can tell you that that is the largest meteor to hit the Earth since the one in Tunguska. Look that one up. That was intense. The asteroid that made contact, I can tell you that it was I forget how big it was. It was about 49 feet across, which is 15 meters, and it weighed about 7,000 tons before it went through the atmosphere. And I know what you're thinking. Well, if it was that big, why didn't it do more damage? Well, here's why. If you watch the videos, you can see that it was glowing for a really long time, which means that it didn't go through the atmosphere just like boom. What happened was the atmosphere is here, and then the Earth, and then it kind of skated along the atmosphere before it made contact, which means that a lot of it burnt up in the atmosphere. This is what burning up looks like when you're using hand signals. Judgmental. Anyway, so that's what happened with the Russian asteroid. When it made contact, I know that the crater was about, I think they said like 4 to 6 meters across, which is sizable. So we know that it was smaller than the asteroid was before it hit the Earth. If you'll remember, it was about 14 meters across. But that's still a gigantic crater, considering. Anyway, so that's enough about the Russian meteor. There's not a lot to tell you about 2012 DA14. I can really tell you is that it was approximately the size of the space shuttle. Like, that's a good size comparison. And what happened was, why it was such a big deal is that it traveled underneath the geosynchronous satellites, And what happens is we have the Earth, and then we have the atmosphere, and then just above that, you know, well, a little bit above that, we have the geosynchronous satellites, which are the ones that orbit just like the moon does. It's sort of tidal locked, except the satellites don't rotate. They go around the Earth, and they're always facing they're always over the same part of the Earth. That's how GPS works. And then way above that, we have the normal satellites that orbit the Earth. Awesome. Well, what happened was we have the Earth, and then we have the geosynchronous satellites, and the atmosphere is like here. And the asteroid kind of just went underneath. That's really, really close. To give you a comparison for that, I think that's about 1/30th the distance between the Earth and the Moon. That's how close it was. However, you would not have been able to see it with your naked eye. You would need a very good telescope to see it. Awesome, right? So that's pretty much all that I can tell you about 2012 DA-14. Like I said, I don't have a top secret security clearance yet. Anyway, so now I'm going to tell you about Apophis, which a lot of people are like, oh my god! Wait, I already did that. Never mind. So Apophis is, it's an asteroid, and it's about the size of the Rose Bowl, and it was supposed to make this is what everyone heard. They heard asteroid the size of the Rose Bowl might make contact with Earth. And what they translated out of that was an asteroid the size of the Rose Bowl was going to make contact with Earth. Nobody pays attention to the fact that it only had a 1.4% chance of making contact with the Earth. And recent simulations and everything else has shown that it won't make contact with Earth. End of story. That's really all that I can tell you about all of the asteroids and meteors that have been going on. So I'm going to end. That's my stepbrother. He's just chilling. Stay nerdy, my friends.
Stay nerdy, my friends.
See, there you go. He says it. Anyway, so since that's going on and we're at 7 minutes and 13 seconds, I'm going to tell you, like this video, share it with everyone you know, share it with anyone who has any questions about the meteors that happened. Sorry that I had to talk so fast, but like I said, I just fit 18 minutes worth of material into 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Subscribe to the channel. It's a good channel. Trust me. I know. I make it. And other than that, all I can tell you is stay nerdy, my friends.